Loving you is how I learn to stop leaving the moment. I used to step away internally, even when my body stayed, thinking ahead, remembering behind, rarely here. Loving you is how I learned that the moment does not punish me. It does not demand performance. It simply waits. Loving you is how I learn to notice when I drift. Drifting feels productive, but it costs presence. Loving you is how I learn to come back again and again, not forcefully, gently. Loving you is how I learned that attention is an act of care. Whatever I attend to softens. Loving you is how I learned that boredom is often a doorway. If I stay, something subtle appears. Loving you is how I learned to let sensations lead. The warmth of a cup, the weight of breath, the sound of a room, these things anchor me. Loving you is how I learn to stop rehearsing conversations that haven't happened. Rehearsal steals from now. Loving you is how I learn to feel my feet on the floor. The floor is always present. Loving you is how I learn that presence does not fix anything. It reveals what is workable. Loving you is how I learn to stop leaving the moment, because the moment was never the problem. Loving you is how I learned it was the place where life kept offering itself. Because the moment was never the problem. It was the place. Loving you is how I learned where life kept offering itself. Loving you is how I learned. Loving you is how I learned to stop resisting the way things are. I used to tense against reality, as if resistance could reshape it, as if tightening could protect me. Loving you is how I learned that resistance costs more than acceptance ever will. Loving you is how I learned to feel when my body is bracing. Bracing looks like readiness, but feels like fear. Loving you is how I learned that acceptance is not agreement, it is contact. Loving you is how let moments land without deflection. Deflection delays living. Loving you is how I learned that pain does not multiply. When acknowledged, it multiplies. When avoided, loving you is how I learned to stay present with discomfort without dramatizing it. Discomfort passes faster when met. Loving you is how I learned that life is not asking for approval. It is asking for participation. Loving you is how I learn to soften my jaw, my shoulders, my breath. Softening changes what thinking cannot. Loving you is how I learn that letting things be does not make me passive, it makes me available.
Loving you is how I learn. Loving you is how I learn. Loving you is how I learn.
To stop rehearsing resistance. Resistance was never protection. It was distance. Loving you is how I learned to meet life where it is, because life only happens there. We trust the process we cannot see, not because we understand it, but because resisting it exhausts us. We trust that something is shifting, even when nothing looks different. We trust the quiet work happening beneath routines. Routines are not static, they are alive. We trust that effort compounds, even when results delay. Oh, we trust that rest is doing something. Rest repairs what effort wears down. We trust that relationships deepen through time, not through intensity. We trust that mistakes are information. Information guides the next step. We trust that uncertainty is not failure. It is openness. We trust that the body knows pacing. The body keeps score. Honestly, we trust that change does not need permission. It arrives when condition allows. We trust that love is working, even when it feels quiet. Quiet love is stable. cannot see. And slowly, without a moment to point to, we realize we are no longer the same. Not because we transform, but because we stayed and staying change everything. Loving you is how I learn to trust stillness. I used to believe that stillness meant something had stopped, that nothing was happening. Loving you is how I learned that stillness is full. It holds movement without showing it. Loving you is how I learned to sit without reaching. Reaching keeps the body leaning forward. Stillness lets it arrive. Loving you is how I learned that the heart does not need constant stimulation. It needs space to beat honestly. Loving you is how I learned to stop confusing calm with emptiness. Calm is not blank, it is coherent. Loving you is how I learned to let silence stay longer. Silence rearranges what noise tangles. Loving you is how I learned that my worth does not depend on momentum. I remain even when nothing advances. Loving you is how I learned to notice subtle motion. Breeze shifting, light moving, a thought dissolving. These are events. Loving you is how I learned that presence often feels neutral. Neutral is stable. Loving you is how I learned to trust days that feel paused. Pause does not mean abandon. Loving you is how I learned to stop filling space out of habit. Habit can be loud. Loving you is how I learned that stillness is not waiting. It is participation without force. Loving you is how I learned to trust stillness, because stillness has been carrying me all along. Loving you. Loving you is how I learn to be patient with becoming. I used to think becoming was a destination, a future version that would finally feel right. Loving you is how I live. without panicking. Confusion is often reorganization.
Loving you is how I love.
That clarity comes and goes. It is not a permanent stay. Loving you is how I learn to stay with questions longer, questions widen the inner space. Loving you is how I learn that impatience is a form of mistrust.
Mistrust in time.
Mistrust in process. Loving you is how I learn to notice subtle shifts, a reaction that softens, a pause that lengthens, a fear that loosens its grip. These are milestones that do not announce themselves.
Loving you is how I love.
That becoming cannot be forced. It unfolds when given safety. Loving you is how I learn to let myself arrive slowly. Arrival that is rushed does not stay. Loving you is how I learn to be patient with becoming, because becoming is not something to finish. It is something to accompany. Loving you is how I learn to feel safe without explanation. I used to think safety needed reasons, proof, logic, assurance.
Loving you is how I learn.
Loving you is how I learn that safety is felt before it is understood. It arrives in the body. Loving you is how I learned to notice when my breath no longer guards itself. Guarding is exhausting. Loving you is how I learned that vigilance is not awareness. Vigilance scans, awareness receives.
Loving you is how I learn
to let my shoulders drop without asking permission. The body knows before the mind agrees. Loving you is how I learned that safety does not eliminate fear. It allows fear to pass through. to stop rehearsing escape. Escape was never needed. Loving you is how I learned that comfort does not make me weak. It makes me accurate. Loving you is how I learned to stop translating my needs into something more acceptable. Needs do not need disguise. Loving you is how I learned that being held does not require constant touch. Sometimes it is presence, sometimes it is continuity. Loving you is how I learned that trust settles quietly. It does not argue. Loving you is how I learned to feel safe without explanation, because safety is not a conclusion, it is an environment, and I am finally living inside it. Loving you is how I learned to let a day be just a day. I used to ask every morning what it would give me, what it would take, as if a day were a transaction. Loving you is how I learned to stop assigning roles to hours. This hour does not need to heal me. That hour does not need to teach me. Loving you is how I learned that living is not a curriculum. There is no syllabus for being human. Loving you is how I learned to let fatigue exist without turning it into guilt. Tired is not wrong, it is information. Loving you is how I learned to let sadness pass through without demanding meaning. Not every sadness points to loss. Sometimes it points to death. Loving you is how I learned to let joy arrive without holding it to it. Joy knows how to leave and return. Loving you is how I learned that ordinary moments do not need witnesses. They are complete on their own. Loving you is how I learned to stop reviewing my days at night. I don't grade them, I let them rest. Loving you is how I learned that consistency is its own form of beauty. Not loud, not dramatic, but sustaining. Loving you is how I learned to let a day be just a day. I used to think letting go meant disappearance, that something in me would be left behind. Loving you is how I learned that letting go is not erasing. It is releasing grip. Loving you is how I learned to loosen my hold on outcomes. Outcomes kept my hands full. Loving you is how I learned that what is truly mine does not slip away when my fingers open. It stays. Loving you is how I learned to stop clinging to versions of who I was. Past selves do not need defending, they did their work. Loving you is how I learned that identity is not fragile, it survives softness. Loving you is how I learned to release expectations without bitterness. Bitterness is weight. Loving you is how I learned that grief and release can coexist. Release does not deny love, it honors movement. Loving you is how I learned to let go of urgency. Urgency was never care, it was fear. Loving you is how I learned that letting go creates room. Room for breath, room for attention. Loving you is how I learned that I am still here, even when I stop holding on. More here, more present. Loving you is how I learned to let go without losing myself. Because what is essential does not require grip. It remains when everything else is loosened. Loving you is how I learned to let life be ordinary. I used to think ordinary meant nothing special, something to escape, something to outgrow. Loving you is how I learned that ordinary is where life actually happens. Not in the peaks, not in the stories we're told, but here. Loving you is how I learned to stop waiting for exceptional moments. Exceptional moments do not carry a life, ordinary ones do. Loving you is how I learned to notice the texture of daily things, the sound of dishes, the way light falls, the rhythm of footsteps. These are not filler, they are substance. Loving you is how I learned that meaning does not need intensity. Intensity burns quickly, meaning settles. Loving you is how I learned to let days repeat. Repetition is how trust is built. Loving you is how I learned that invitation to look closer. Loving you is how I learned to stop apologizing for a quiet life. Quiet is not small. Quiet is sustainable. Loving you is how I learned that joy does not need to be remarkable. It needs to be honest. Loving you is how I learned to accept routines as devotion. Routines are love, kept daily. Loving you is how I learned that ordinary does not mean stagnant. It means stable enough to change gently.
Loving you is how I learned
to let life be ordinary, because ordinary is not the absence of beauty. It is beauty that does not need to prove itself. Loving you is how I learned to let life be unfinished. I used to believe everything needed a conclusion, a shape, a sentence that closed the thought. Loving you is how I learned that life does not like endings.
It prefers continuity.
Loving you is how I learned to stop forcing clarity out of moments that are still forming. Some things are not unclear, they are early.
Loving you is how I learned
that uncertainty is not a gap, it is a field.
things grow there.
Loving you is how I learned to sit inside days that don't resolve.
No breakthrough,
No lesson,
no lesson.
just living.
Loving you is how I learned
To trust that meaning does not rush. Meaning lingers and gathers.
Loving you is how I learned.
Loving you is how I learned that healing often looks like nothing happening. The nervous system finally resting. Loving you is how I learned to stop collecting experiences
As proof of living.
Living is happening whether I collect it or not.
Loving you is how I learned
To let emotions stay messy. Neat emotions are usually rehearsed. Loving you is how I learned to let contradictions exist. I can be grateful
and
tired,
present
and uncertain. Loving you is how I learned that wholeness does not mean completeness.
It means inclusion.
Loving you is how I learned to let memory remain imperfect. Memory edit to protect us. Loving you is how I learned to stay with a life that is still unfolding. Not impatient, not disappointed, just attentive. Loving you is how I learned to let life be unfinished. Ooh, because unfinished, unfinished, ooh, unfinished is alive. Loving you is how I learned to let my life breathe. I didn't know how tightly I had been holding it. Every plan, every intention, every hope I was gripping as if looseness meant loss. Loving you is how I learned that breathing requires space. Pressure restricts what needs to move. Loving you is how I learned to stop crowding my days with expectation. Suffocates what wants to arrive naturally. Loving you is how I learned to leave room between moments, room for mistakes, room for pauses, room for silence. Loving you is how I learned that not filling space is an act of trust. Trust that something else will enter or not, and either is fine. Loving you is how I learned to stop sketching my feelings. Feelings do not follow calendars. They arrive when they are ready. Loving you is how I learned that control often disguises fear. Fear of collapse, fear of emptiness. Loving you is how I learned to allow my days to stretch and contract. Some days feel wide, some feel narrow, neither is wrong. Loving you is how I learned to let tiredness breathe, to stop pushing past it as if it were an obstacle. Loving you is how I learned that rest expands life. It does not shrink it. Loving you is how I learned to let joy breathe. Joy tightens when clung to. Joy opens when trusted. Loving you is how I learned to let my thoughts come and go. Not every thought needs to stay. Loving you is how I learned that meaning cannot be forced. It settles when space is made. Loving you is how I learned to let my life breathe. Because a breathing life does not need to be pushed. It moves on its own. Loving you is how I learned to live inside. I used to think enough was a limit, a stopping point that meant giving up. Loving you is how I learned that enough is not the end. It is the ground. Loving you is how I learned to stop negotiating with the present. If only this were different, if only that were easier. Loving you is how I learned that the present does not respond to bargaining. It responds to attention. Loving you is how I learned to stop postponing peace. Peace does not arrive later. It arrives when resistance softens. Loving you is how I learned that fullness does not require excess. Fullness is when nothing is missing. Loving you is how I learned to stop waiting for permission to be satisfied. Satisfaction is not arrogance. It is awareness. Loving you is how I learned that enough has a texture. It feels like ease in the chest. It feels like not reaching for something else. Loving you is how I learned that comparison erodes contentment. Enough cannot survive next to comparison. Loving you is how I learned to let go of imagined upgrades. The upgrade was already here. Loving you is how I learned that abundance often looks plain. Plain is stable. Loving you is how I learned to live inside enough. Not because life offered less, but because I finally noticed what was already holding me. Loving you is how I learned to live without a final version. I used to imagine there would be a moment where I would feel complete, as if life were a puzzle waiting for its last piece. Loving you is how I learned that life does not finish. It continues by changing. Loving you is how I learned to stop editing myself for a future audience. There is no later performance. There is only now. Loving you is how I learned that identity is not something to arrive at. It is something to inhabit. Loving you is how I learned to let myself contradict who I was yesterday. Consistency is not honesty. Responsiveness. Loving you is how I learned to let go of the idea that growth must be visible. Some growth happens underground. Loving you is how I learned to stop asking if I'm doing life correctly. There is no rubric, only participation. Loving you is how I learned to live with open questions without turning them into anxiety. Questions can be companions, they don't have to be problems. Loving you is how I learned that clarity is not permanent. It visits, then leaves, and that is fine. Loving you is how I learned to accept the rhythm of expansion and contraction. Some days widen, some days narrow. Both belong. Loving you is how I learned to let go of the pressure to explain my choices. My life does not need a defense. Loving you is how I learned that being unfinished is not a flaw. It is not mission. Loving you is how I learned to live without a final version. Because life is not a product, it is a process that breathes. Loving you is how I learned to live without a hurry. I used to move through hours like they were obstacles. Something to clear before rest was allowed. Loving you is how I learned that rest is not the opposite of living, it is part of it. Loving you is how I learned to wake without tension. No checklist waiting to accuse me. Loving you is how I learned that urgency often disguises fear. Fear of missing something, fear of falling behind. Loving you is how I learned that nothing meaningful requires panic. The important things arrive on their own schedule. Loving you is how I learned to eat slowly, to walk slower, to listen without interrupting. Speed was never respect. Attention is loving you, is how I learned to stop multitasking my emotions. I feel one thing at a time now, and that is enough. Loving you is how I learned that slowing down does not make life smaller. It makes it wider. Details return, sensations sharpen. Loving you is how I learned to let the body set the rhythm. The body remembers what balance feels like. Loving you is how I learned that calm is not laziness, calm is trust. Loving you is how I learned to live without a hurry. Because what is meant for me does not need chasing. It will meet me where I am.
Loving you is how I learn
To rest without disappearing. I used to believe that stopping meant falling behind, that rest required explanation. Loving you is how I learned that rest can be visible, that I do not vanish when I pause. Loving you is how I learned to set things down without guilt. What is meant to stay will wait. Loving you is how I learned that my worth does not decrease when my output does. I am not what I produce. Loving you is how I learned to lie still without rehearsing tomorrow. Tomorrow does not need my anxiety. Loving you is how I learned that fatigue is a message, not a failure. Loving you is how I learned to listen before correcting. The body speaks in sensations. Loving you is how I learned that slowing down does not mean losing momentum. It means choosing direction. Loving you is how I learned to rest inside my own life, not away from it. Loving you is how I learned to rest without disappearing, because I was never here to be consumed. I was here to remain. Ooh. is how I learned to stay with my life, not escape it, not improve it immediately, just stay. I used to believe life was something to manage, something that needed constant adjustment.
Loving you is how I learned that life is not a problem.
It is a presence.
Loving you is how I learned
to sit inside moments without rearranging them. This moment does not need fixing, it needs witnessing.
Loving you is how I learned.
Loving you is how I learned that discomfort does not mean failure. Sometimes it means I am still here.
Loving you is how I learned
to let thoughts pass without following them. Not every thought is an instruction.
Loving you is how I learned
that anxiety is often unlived attention. Attention returns and anxiety loosens.
Loving you is how I learned
to breathe without narrating. Breathing does not need commentary.
Loving you is how I learned
that presence is not intense. It is subtle, so subtle, it can be missed.
Loving you is how I learned
to feel my body as a place to live, not a machine to optimize.
Loving you is how I learned
that staying is sometimes the bravest act. Staying with boredom, staying with uncertainty, staying with love.
Loving you is how I learned
to stop fantasizing about a different version of myself. This one is already breathing.
Loving you is how I learned
that meaning does not arrive all at once. It accumulates quietly through staying.
Loving you is how I learned
to stay with my life, even when it is simple, even when it is repetitive, even when it is quiet, especially then.
Loving you is how I learn to stop asking for more certainty, more excitement, more confirmation. I used to believe that desire was the engine of living, and that wanting meant moving forward. Loving you is how I learned that wanting never rests. It keeps the body tense. Loving you is how I learned to notice when in love has already arrived. Enough does not shout, it sits quietly and waits. Loving you is how I
just stop upgrading my life, then my imagination, the imagined version, was always louder, but failer. Loving you is how I learn to appreciate what is steady. Steady does not thrill, it holds. Loving you is how I learn that abundance is often invisible. It looks like consistency, like continuity, like not needing to escape. Loving you is how I learn to stop chasing the next feeling. Feelings rotate on their own. Loving you is how I learn to let contentment be quiet. Contentment does not announce itself, it relaxes. Loving you is how I learn to trust that life does not mean constant improvement. Life needs attention. Loving you is how I learn that more is not always better. Sometimes more is just to stop asking for more, because what I needed had already been walking